Hey, happy Monday. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy, either at home or if you are a quote unquote essential worker. I hope that you are also staying safe and healthy, and just know that we appreciate you. I'm doing my best to stay positive over here. We went on a car ride the other day, and that was like the highlight of our day. But I've just been really trying to ground myself and center myself. Lots of meditation, trying to eat healthy foods, trying to move my body every day. I've been really into yoga lately. I follow this gal, Yoga with Adrienne, on YouTube, and she has this like 30-day home challenge. And so I've been doing that, and I find that that's really helpful. And then also getting my hands dirty, literally getting my hands dirty. I have these chickens now. Have all these house plants now, and I'm gardening. I started a seedling kit. I am just taking this being in nature thing to another level, this living sustainably to another level. I don't know, something like triggered in me when this whole pandemic started. And like part of me was like, wow, I didn't realize how much we rely on other people for our immediate needs. And what do I mean by that? I seen somebody post a picture about the shelves being out of bread, and I was like, man, that sucks. But then I said, I bet you could make your own bread at home. It can't be that hard. Like, we make our own pizza. Like, we make homemade pizza once or twice a week. We are like pizza fanatics. And so it got me thinking how much we rely on other people. Like this toilet paper shortage. People are like losing their minds. And I'm like, you could, like, if you got into a pinch, you could just cut up some t-shirts or some washcloths and just wipe your ass with a bucket of water, or use like a Perry bottle. And I just thought it was really interesting how much we rely on, the convenience of like the store and things like that. And so I'm like, you know what? I really want to be able to have a little bit more sustainable lifestyle, maybe reduce my consumption, reduce my carbon footprint, and be able to give back to my community at the same time. So whether that's by like growing a garden, and I ordered a whole bunch of fruit trees because I don't know, I still, I guess, embody that go big or go home. But I also very much embody progress, not perfect. And so while I'm not like a super green thumb, I'm like, fuck it, I'll figure it out. Like, we're just gonna go with it. And if I kill a few plants along the way, I hope that they know that I tried my best, and I'm just gonna keep going with it. Because how cool would it be to have, a couple of really cool tomato plants. And anyways, I can go on and on and on about that. But to keep things positive and to keep, the love and the light out there, I did want to start this Q&A session where you guys can submit questions to me and I will answer them on the podcast. So we've already had quite a few questions roll in, a few on Facebook, a few on Instagram, a few through email, I believe. And so the ones that I have, 2 questions that I want to talk about today. And these were submitted through Facebook. And what I want to do is just answer them honestly and hope that they inspire you guys to start your own journey or your own whatever path it is that you feel called to do. This pandemic that we are in, it will pass. God, I even feel just weird saying pandemic. Like, I'm like, oh, am I fucking lying to people? Like, it just feels weird to say that. It didn't even hit me that it is such a reality until the other day. We went out and we've been staying home. I think I've been home, this is like week 3 or something, and we went out to get a few things the other day, and I stayed in the car with the kids, and my husband had to run in and grab something quick, and he gets back and he's like stripping down in the parking lot. He's like sanitizing his whole body, whatever. But we're just sitting there in the parking lot, and people are just like going about their day like it was no big deal. And then there's other people who are like head to toe in their protective gear. And, you drive by some businesses and they're just like closed up shop. They're deserted. And then you drive by other places and they're like lines out the door. It's just crazy. It's all just crazy. And I try not to turn on the news. I try not to get sucked into social media. And so I've just really been grounding myself, centering myself by all of the hippie woo-woo shit. I've been hanging out with my crystals and my oils and my kids and the outside and my chickens. And that's me, guys. I'm just like living life over in my little corner of Northwest Iowa. So today's question, let's get down to it so that I don't chat your ear off about my my chicken obsession and plant obsession right now. If you want any more info on my plant or chicken obsession, just head on over to my Instagram, Sasha.Davis, and you will see. That's all I gotta say. So today's question was submitted on Facebook. I don't have the name of the person right in front of me. I apologize for that. But the question is, how did you start and what reserves did you have before taking the leap to where you are today? And so what I think they mean by how did I start is how did I start this journey that you guys see today online? And I would say that it started in 2017, when I had my daughter, Oakland. I was at a place in my life where I was very angry. I was a big people pleaser. I said yes to everything. I found myself in this corporate management role. And while I made really good money, at the same time, I just really fucking hated it. I hated being away from home 12 hours a day. I hated that I just felt drained and I was exhausted. I'd had literally zero self-care. I was not taking care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally. I drank a lot. I still smoked. Well, actually, I didn't drink or smoke when I was pregnant, obviously, but I quit smoking in 2016. But I did all of these things to kind of numb what pain I felt, what the life that I thought I was supposed to be living. And I wasn't happy. I was just going through life, like checking all the boxes. I'd always ask myself, like, what would a normal person do, Sasha? What would a normal person do? And then I would try to do what a quote unquote normal person would do. And it did. It got me really far. Like, I was the first person in, part of my family to get a high school education. And then I was the first person to get a college education. And then I was the first person to just do a lot of things. Like, I've always been breaking these generational patterns so that I can, I don't know, like, I've just always had this inner drive where I'm like, what's next? What's this life? What can I do in this lifetime? And so then I have this daughter, and I'm working a lot, and I find myself angry and frustrated and just lack of self-care in every aspect of the word. And I was like, I can't keep living like this. I can't. I have to do something different. And I was reading all the books and I was doing all the things. I've been a huge believer in the law of attraction and manifestation and creating your reality since 2006 when I found the book, The Secret. And so I was always manifesting in my life, but I was never taking care of myself. Like, if I said, oh, I want to have that corporate management job, boom, it was like it was there. Oh, I want that car, boom, I could have it. Like, I was really good at manifesting things, but I still felt like something was missing. I was lacking that passion, that desire, and I was really lacking just taking care of myself, you guys. Like, I just numbed out with all the things. I think I went through a period where I just like popped those hydrocodones or codeines too, or I took Adderall just to make myself like uppity. Ugh, it's just crazy. Like, looking back, all the stupid shit that I did. I went to jail a few times because I was just, I don't know, I was always making bad choices. But then something deep inside me was like, Sasha, if you put this much energy into being a good person and doing what your soul desires or your soul craves, think where you could go. And so finally I just said, fuck it. And I leaned into that. And I found this woman online. It started with podcasts. Started listening to podcasts in 2016. I found them. It's that little purple icon on your phone. And so I was obsessed with podcasts. And so I started doing a little bit of personal development there, taking care of myself during my pregnancy, things like that. Started to do more yoga, more walking, more exercise. And then after I had her, I found this podcast called Mom is in Control. And then this woman spoke to me on so many different levels. Her name is Heather Chauvin. She's actually become a great friend of mine now. I just remember listening to a podcast saying, like, I want what she has, and she doesn't know it yet, but we're going to be friends. And that's how I make friends. I just call it out and I say, hey, you there, we're going to be friends someday. They may not believe me that day, but eventually we will be friends, because that is how I roll. Ask one of my friends, Michaela. I saw her in college and I was like, I like that girl. I want to be her friend. I literally chased her down the hall after a college class and said, hey, we need to hang out. It was weird, but I did it, and we're still friends to this day. Same with Heather. I applied for one of her programs and went through one of her coaching programs, and it was just having somebody who's like been there, done that, show me the light and say like, hey, this is what you're capable of. This is what you could do. And just really set things up for me, set myself up for success, and like uncover so many limiting beliefs and figure out why I was so angry and why I was so frustrated and why I couldn't do the things that I said I wanted to do. I was a self-sabotager, and I still can be. I recognize it now, whereas I did not recognize it in like 2016, 2017, like 3-4 years ago. When something would happen, I'd be like, spiral, it's everybody's fault, I'm not to blame, da 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 da. But now I'm like, okay, Sasha, I see what you're doing. You're trying to fuck this up. And so I have to have this like inner conversation with myself to say, nope. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Even when things get tough, the magic is on just the other side. It's just like you're figuratively giving birth. You're growing this thing, growing this idea, growing this human, and then you get to the point where like you have to push and like you have to go through that discomfort to get the bundle of joy on the other side. There's no other way except for through it. You have to go through it. No matter how you brought another human being into this world, you have to go through that discomfort. And then you feel love and joy and light and all of these things. And then the process starts over again because you forget how uncomfortable you were and you're just da 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 da. So that is how I got started. I got started in like 2016, 2017 with self-care, which looked like journaling, meditating, walking, yoga, and then listening to podcasts, and then investing in a coaching program and investing in counseling and therapy. I did this online therapy too. Actually, it's over the phone, but I think you sign up online. I think it's like betterhelp.com. And I worked with a therapist. Her name was Danielle, and I worked with her on there too. And then I also had a spiritual life coach, and she helped me see so many things. And I've worked with psychics, and I've worked with Reiki, energy practitioners. I've worked with a friend of mine who does pranic healing. She's done a few sessions on me. I'm just always kind of looking at ways that I could better myself. But I would definitely say that starting, it was recognizing what wasn't working and knowing that like somebody else could help me fix my problem. I just had to get over my pride of asking for help. And that was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do, was learn just to suck it up and ask for help, that I didn't have all the answers and that people weren't going to think less of me for asking for help. I've always been looked at as a leader. And so it's like, well, where do the leaders go? If I'm a leader of my life, if I'm a leader of my community and I need help, who do I turn to? And so just knowing that even you can be a leader, or you can be that trailblazer, but you can still ask for help. And if people are judging you for it, fuck them. Who cares? I just got to a point in my life where I was like, I'm done pleasing everybody else. I'm done living my life for everybody else. I want to do what makes me happy. I only live once, and I want to live for me. I want to, set the tone for my kids and let them know that they can be anything they want to be. And how do we do that? We show them. We don't tell them. You can't just look at somebody and be like, oh, well, you should do this. No, you're not doing that. So why should I do that? So it's being that role model. I think it was Gandhi who says, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I really try to embody that. I want to be that change. I want to inspire others to be the change, to turn inward and trust your gut, trust your intuition, and be brave and be confident and say the things that are on your mind, and not lose sleep overnight and not worry about unnecessary things that are never going to happen, and learn to take care of yourself and know that you don't have to go balls to the wall 24/7 to be a successful mom, to be a successful wife, to be a successful career woman or business owner. Like, you can take breaths, you can take breaks, you can ask for help, you can take care of yourself and your kids. It's fine. I don't even like that word. I don't even want to say that it's not fine, but like, you can do what makes you happy. You don't have to put everybody before you. And that was a big eye-opener for me, because I was always last on my to-do list. And I'd always get mad when somebody was like, oh, I have this to do. I'm like, oh, yeah, it must be fucking nice to have time for yourself. So my husband was giving me shit the other day because he said that my go-to saying back then was must be rough. I'd see somebody who had more money than me or longer hair than me or I don't know, had a nicer car than me. And I'd always just be like, oh, must be rough. Must be rough to have rich parents. Must be rough to just have everything handed to you. Turns out that I didn't have stuff handed to them. It was just me being a jerk. And I could have those things too if I just shut up and went and did the things to have those things. So that's kind of where I started. I hope I answered that question. I could probably go on and on and on about that one. And so then the second part of that question is, what reserves did you have before taking the leap to where I am today? The biggest thing that was holding me back is what other people would think about me. Number one, I was so worried about what people would think about what I'm doing because I was such a fuck up when I was younger or I thought I was a fuck up in my own eyes. Turns out not a lot of people thought I was a fuck up, but I really thought I was because I was just always doing something stupid. I was just always doing something stupid. And so when I decided to, be a business owner, or start a podcast or start social media or start coaching people or these speaking events or just the numerous things that I've done, I always thought somebody was going to call me out and be like, who are you to do this stuff? So I really suffered with what they call imposter syndrome, where I don't feel like I'm qualified or like I'm enough or that I should be that go-to person. So I really, really struggled with imposter syndrome and just not feeling worthy of having the things that I wanted. That would definitely be the biggest thing. The other thing, it comes up, but it doesn't really, is, sometimes people are like, well, what if your spouse isn't supportive? Mine wasn't. He did think I was batshit crazy. He was like, what are you fucking doing? Like, get a grip. He would always tell me to get a grip. And I'm like, no, you get a freaking grip. I'm trying to do something that's different and that lights me up and da-da-da-da-da. And then he was just like, okay, whatever. Go off on your little kick or whatever. And I don't think he fully understood. I don't think a lot of husbands do. And this isn't to be sexist or anything. I just think that men and women, masculine, feminine, they're just very different energies and they process information differently. I would say men very much are like black and white. Tell me what I need to hear. I want to see the bottom line. How is this going to improve? Give me a pros and cons list. And then women are like, I'm just going to go with it. This feels right. I know this is where I'm supposed to be. They're emotional buyers. You go off of feelings, things like that. And so I was just so tired of feeling like shit that I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And I was terrified. I was scared shitless, all the time. And it was so funny because people would be like, oh, you look so confident. But on the inside, I was like, am I confident? Do they really think I'm confident? And I would just second guess everything. Oh, that first year it was crazy. I'd be like, oh, should I do a live video? And I'd be like, yes, do a live video. And then I'd do a live video. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go throw up. I can't believe I just did a live video. And now I'm like, I guess I don't really do a lot of live videos now. I don't know. Maybe I will eventually. Who knows? I did a bunch. Maybe I did my time. But I do a lot of stories. I do a lot of podcasts. I do interviews. I do a lot of stuff, but it doesn't scare me like it used to because it's not scary anymore. You do it enough and it becomes easy. Like podcasting, I remember the first time I did a podcast, I was laying on my daughter's floor, hiding from everybody. And I was so nervous. I think I was talking like this. All low and scared and trying not to let my voice shake. And I don't even remember what the fuck I talked about. Maybe I'll go look back and listen to it. But now here I am 3 years into podcasting and I just whip out my phone and say what's ever on my mind. Sometimes I'll do, I wouldn't say a scripted, but an outline one. But I feel like I do really well at just riffing things. So that's kind of my style. So just know that 90% of these podcasts that you listen to are just my current thoughts. I don't have scripts. I don't have things that I'm reading off of. I don't have notes. Even my interviews, I'm just like, hey, we're just going to have a conversation, see what comes up. It's so funny because some people don't like that at all. And other people are like, okay, well, we're just going to wing it. So I would say that that's a lot of it. Let's see, what else would have come up? I got a lot of backlash from certain family members. I'll just say that. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it, but just, I did have reserves about that, sharing my story and certain things that happened to me when I was younger. So I did get backlash from certain family members and that's just is what it is. And I just came to a point where I was like, hey, we're all humans having a human experience, and I'm just sharing what happened to me. And if that triggers you, then whatever. Like, I don't intentionally mean anybody harm. I don't mean anything to anybody other than love. And if it was misperceived, or, if somebody misunderstood or misinterpreted what it was that I was saying, then I apologize. But that was just how I saw things, and that was my life. That was my reality. And so I feel like I'm validated in saying that, and I don't need anybody's permission to think, act, and feel a certain way. And I just got to a point where I was so done being controlled by outside sources that I was just like, it was like breaking free from the chains. Like, I always felt like I was a sinking ship, and people just kept piling their shit on me. And I was just walking around carrying everybody's shit, and I was about ready to go under, and I just was done with it. So I did get some backlash. I did worry about what people would think about me. I did worry about money in the beginning, because I did leave a very lucrative, successful corporate job to do my own thing. So most people think that that's insane, but I did it. And there was a couple times where I regretted it, because being an entrepreneur, there's high months and low months. And so navigating that first year, I'd have like a couple really awesome months, and I'd have a couple really sucky months. So at the bottom of those low months, it was like, I'm an idiot. Why did I do this? This is so stupid. You kind of have that cry fest, and then you pull up your big girl pants and you're like, get to work, get to fucking work, shut up, suck it up, get her done, all the things that you tell yourself. So I would say that those are a few things. The other things are like morning routines. Like, my husband would always think I was crazy because I'd like go sit in my chair and like meditate in the morning. And at first he was like, what are you doing? But overall, I'd say he's fairly supportive. Even like now, he's just always like cheering me on. But it was a really awkward transition, especially like investing in a coach. He was pissed when he found out how much money I spent on a coach. First, I lied about it, which I don't recommend, but I was just so determined to change my life around that I was going to make it happen. It didn't matter. I didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm doing this. You're either with me or you're not. Like, figure it out. So, and some people agree with that and some people don't. That's fine. To each their own. But that's what I did. He was not happy, but I just got to a point where I was so determined to make change that nobody was stopping me. Like, nobody was stopping me. And I think you just have to get to that point where it's like, when is enough enough? And it sucks that we have to push ourselves to that point. Like, we shouldn't have to back ourselves into a corner before we start to look up, but that's what we do. It's like, how uncomfortable are you willing to let this get before you start to fix your life and be happy and live in alignment with how you want to feel? It shouldn't have to be a life or death situation, yet we get to the point where it almost is. It's like you're ready to kill people before you're ready to change. It's so stupid, but that's just how we operate. So my suggestion to anybody who's listening to this and they're like wondering how to start or what to do to start, taking your life in a new direction. And the first thing that I'm going to say is, listen to podcasts, read the books, journal, meditate. And I mean, like, really give meditation a shot. A lot of people underestimate the value of meditation. I think it's because we're scared of our own thoughts. We're scared of our own feelings. We're scared what's going to come up. But how can you get to know, like, and trust yourself if you can't even sit in silence with yourself for 10 minutes? Think about that. How are you going to live this beautiful life with yourself? Because nobody else is going to live your life. You are going to live your life. How are you going to live your own life if you can't even sit in silence with yourself for fucking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour? You're not. So you just have to suck it up. It's like giving birth. You got to go through that discomfort to enjoy the love and everything else on the other side. And that's what this is. It's a journey of self-love. It's a journey of trusting yourself. It's a journey of following the breadcrumbs of your life path, following those desires. And the other thing that I want to say is you don't have to get stuck on like one thing. Like, so many people are like, well, what am I passionate about? What am I going to do? Just know that your passion does not have to be your business. You can be passionate about something else and not even make money from it. Like, don't attach money to your passion unless you want to turn that passion into a moneymaker. They can be separate. They can be the same. It's whatever works for you. Don't look at anybody else's stuff and be like, I need to have exactly what she has. Look at other people for inspiration, but then ask yourself, like, what feels good, keep what feels good, and then get rid of the other shit. Okay? Don't take on other people's shit just because you feel like you have to follow or do what somebody else is doing. The whole purpose of this, of me like encouraging you to work on your own self or do the things that light you up, is because I want you to be happy. You are living your life. I'm not living your life. Your husband's not living your life. Your sister's not living your life. Your mom's not living your life. You are living your life. So are you living your life for yourself? Or are you living your life for other people? Ask yourself that question right now. And if your answer isn't immediately, yes, I'm living my life for myself, then you got work to do. You have work to do. And I cannot stress enough the value of investing in a coach, of investing in a therapist, of investing in online programs, and investing in personal development books and meditation classes and yoga. And you don't have to do all the things all at once. But once you've gotten the hang of one thing, if you're like, okay, I've read plenty of books, but I feel like I'm ready for the next step. What is that next step? Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's going to meditation. Maybe it's hiring a coach. Maybe it's hiring a therapist. Maybe it's going back to school. Ask yourself, and you will know. You'll have that pull. You'll have that urge. Like one day an idea will pop into your head and you'll be like, oh, I should really do this. Listen to that. That is your intuition. That is your inner guide talking to you. So my biggest suggestion, and I know I have a lot of suggestions, but is shut off the outside noise and ask yourself what you want. What do you want? What do you want, and how bad do you want it? Are you willing to find a way? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Because it will be uncomfortable. I'm not about to sugarcoat any of that shit. Like it can be really, really, really fucking hard. But when you're done, you're like, wow, I can do really hard things. Like that didn't kill me. And I'm so much happier now. It's like a really terrible workout where you're like at the peak of a workout where you feel like you're going to throw up and pass out. And then all of a sudden you're done and you're like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. That's what personal development is. And each level, each barrier you like break past, you just feel incredible afterwards. It feels like shit when you're going through it. When you get to the other side, you're like, wow, I'm like a new woman. And then you want to like tell everybody about it. You get like stoked. You're like, guess what I just did? And they're like, sweet. I don't listen to podcasts, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, well, fuck you. Oh, this got way longer than I anticipated. So anyways, that is how I want to answer those questions. I loved those questions, by the way. I could talk about this stuff all the time, obviously. That's why I started a podcast. So if you've been thinking about starting a podcast, maybe that's what you need to do. You just need to share all your feelings on your phone and then publish them to the internet for everybody to hear. There's no better way just to get over your own thoughts and feelings than by putting it out there on the internet for everybody to judge. Oh, shit. Those are some lady balls right there. Anyways, I'm looking forward to next week's questions. If you have them, send them over to support@sashadavis.com. Again, or message me on Instagram. I'm really approachable, guys. I know some people are like, oh, she's so intimidating. I get it. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to be an asshole to you. I'm actually a pretty friendly person. So just shoot me a message on Instagram. I love having conversations with you guys. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and just know we can do hard things. This too shall pass. Catch you next time.